So I arrived about 10 o'clock this morning at one of my favorite spots here in Petaca, New Mexico, with my little doggies. And we're at the spot, one of my favorite spots here in Petaca. And in fact, it's the spot where I left off my last video, and I just found this fabulous hole full of beautiful monacites, many of them in the quartz matrix. And so my plan is to go back to that spot and see if there's anything more that I can do with that hole. Now this spot is not really on the map, so to speak. It's not one of the marked mines, but you can see it's right off 45. There's the entrance to this parking area. And right up north of here is the tank. I forget what it's called, but it's a little pond on the left. It's pretty well known. And south of here, the most recognizable mine is the Queen Mine. So that's where I'm at, and let's see what I can find this afternoon. But before digging in that hole again, because it's going to be pretty arduous, pretty hard digging, and it's in the sun, so I decided to start right above the big pit where we found all the euxenites and polycrases and just a couple of these monacites. And up the hill there is where the hole is. But I came down and started looking around to see if I could find something a little easier to dig to get my morning started. And I think I found a spot that looks promising. So let me dig this one real quick. So my theory is that the euxenites are all coming out of this peg right down here below me, and that the monacites are coming out of the peg above me. So it'll be interesting to see if this yields a specimen and of which variety it is. I'm guessing it probably should be a monacite, but if it's a euxenite, then my theory is not so accurate. Let's see if I've moved it. No. Seems to be over here ways. Fortunately, it's pretty soft dirt in here, and they just recently got a bunch of rain. It's getting hot in there. So yeah, they recently got a bunch of rain, so the ground is nice and soft where there aren't too many rocks. This is June 30th, so I'll be here for a week, first week of July. And last season I was here in August. And I just about decided I didn't want to come back in August because it rained so much and the mosquitoes were so bad. But here I am in July, and we'll see how that works out. This time I at least brought some bug repellent. Now it's getting nice and hot. Which is what I want to hear. Yeah, it continues to get hot. Let me get up my... And I would guess, based on how hot it's getting, that it's not monazite. That would be my first guess. But we'll see. Could be a big piece of monazite, which would be even better. Ooh. Boy, whatever it is, it's really localized and really hot. Oh, things seem to be moving. Yeah. Well, maybe more of it here, but I think I already moved something. There we go. That's an exciting sound. So, not it. Where is it? There it is. All right. And the verdict is, well, it's got good crystal form. Whatever it is, I'm gonna have to go wash it off. See a little bit of reddish color to it. It may just be a big hot piece of monazite, and there seems to be more of it in there. That's a nice little find. So let me put this away and see if I can pull some more out of there pretty quickly. Okay. Guess I'll put my probe up here next to it so when I pull something out, it'll start to squawk at me. In fact, I'll reset the squelch so it'll become really apparent. One of these over here. There it is. Okay. Well, it looks like another piece of the same stuff, whatever it is. It's got this little bit of a reddish tinge to it. Yeah. So I may have gotten doing the little pod of these things, or they may be pieces of the same specimen. I think I'm going to try to dig all the pieces out of this guy here, because this seems to be distinctly different from the pod I was digging up there. The shape, the crystals are different, probably the color. I'm not even sure that it's monazite, so I get a better look at it after washing it off. Okay. Once again, I see this reddish tinge. This one's actually, no, it's hard to say before I wash it off. All right, let's see if there's anything else left down there. I think there's still something left down here, but it's not nearly as high as it was. Not nearly as hot as it was. So let me see if I can pull maybe one more piece out of here. Boy, this is nice digging. A couple of weeks ago, and this would have been just rock hard and much more difficult. I would be doing a lot of hammering to loosen this stuff up. But this stuff is already pre-loosened by the rains. Oops. Huh. Well, I seem to have something in this. I think I see some monazite crystals sticking out of this matrix. Yeah, I think these are monazite crystals here, so interesting. Interesting. So, well, put that aside and see if this one looks similar, but it doesn't have any crystal sticking out of it. Whew. Now I may be into the monazites that are still in the matrix. So the first ones I pulled out may be just floaters, and then I'm now getting into the matrix where they came from. All seems to be on this uphill side. Let me just see if I can. Okay. Well, it's going to take some effort to move some of these big pieces of rock, country rock, out of the way. But I've a feeling that I've got a nice pot of monazite in there. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of curious to wash these specimens off and see what they really are, and maybe eat some lunch. So these specimens turned out to be quite mysterious. I don't quite know how to identify them, but almost certainly, I'll start with this big one here, because it's got, you know, this reddish crystal sticking out, and I can tell that it's not very hot, and it measures about 2,000 counts per second, and I can tell that that's definitely monazite just by the looks of it and the growth, and I've already dug up a bunch of pieces very similar to it. But then the other three floater pieces, well, each one of them is distinctly different, even though they look similar. So let me show you this one first, because I think it's most likely monazite as well. It's not very hot, measuring in about 7,000. So it could very easily be a monazite, and it looks like it too. And then the one right next to it looks similar in color and everything, but it is more like 20,000. It's like you'll get to 25,000. So it's definitely out of the range, I would say, of a monazite. And if you look real closely, it seems like I maybe see some black glassy on it. Now this one is even stranger because it looks like a typical monocyte. Let me give you a close-up view here. Yep. Okay. So it looks like a typical monocyte. It's got sharp facets here. And it's also got another crystal growing perpendicular to the main crystal, and it appears to be black glassy. So that's the first thing that I noticed about this specimen. It's actually two crystals that appear to be perpendicular to one another. But this one does not measure like a monocyte either. It's gonna get easily up to 40,000. Yeah, so maybe even 50,000. So this is definitely not monocyte, or at least perhaps this part is monocyte, and then this cross black glassy cross crystal is something else. So it's gonna have to wait till I get home and I can X-ray fluorescence it to figure out what this thing is. But that's pretty exciting for my first finds here in Petaca. So there's the big euxenite pit over there, and this is the hole where I found those specimens. I've dug it for a while, but it's getting so difficult to dig that I'm gonna have to give up for now. But it's still plenty hot. There's a lot of hot stuff down there. But right next to it over here, I think I found another promising looking spot. Okay, it's pretty localized. That's a good sign. And I'm not sure that. The hole. There it is. Well, this looks similar to those pieces I was pulling out over there. Pretty darn hot. Yeah. Okay, another little piece. And probably all kinds of little pieces like this in here, but I think I'll move on. This whole area is really hot, and you can see why. This see all the monocytes in there? Yeah, this is just chock full of monocytes. So this whole quartz outcropping up here is just wicked hot, and you can, as I showed you, you can actually see some monocytes sticking out of the quartz. The problem is that the whole area is so hot, it's hard to find a place to dig that looks promising, because you need a relatively quiet place in order to put your dirt and find it. So I have found a relatively quiet area down here that I can set my squelch, and then right uphill from it is a nice localized hot spot. So I think that's what I'm going to work on. Right behind the camera is a hole I dug last time I was here, and it was very similar in terms of being hot and localized, but it didn't produce any specimens. I did take a block of quartz home, look at it under the microscope, and I could see the monocytes and also some little black glassy specks in there as well. So that's why it was so hot. But sometimes these crystals just don't, are just microscopic. This is just solid quartz. It's just breaking up Ooh, I think I found some monosite in here. Let's see. Well, there's something in here, but it's not real visible. Yeah, it's just wicked hot. Well, I might take it down to wash it off. I could also look at splitting it, but look at that. That's what it was. This one big block. This one big block of quartz. Sure not obvious. Well, see a crack forming here. See if I can split this thing. Here we go. Yeah, this is looking like that other stuff that I found right behind the camera there. You can see a lot of red stuff. It's probably monazite. There's also a lot of darker spots. Let's just see. So I have to assume that these little black spots in here are probably what's causing this stuff to be so hot. But I'll have to leave that for somebody else. So I'm ready to call it quits for the day, but as I was walking down to the car, you can see the car right there, I got a little hit. So now this is the area where it's just going to be individual specimens, because everything has washed down the hill. So every hit that you get here is going to be a specimen of some sort. Okay, let's see whether it's right near the surface. And it's probably just an ugly piece of euxenite. But you never know. Okay, it's a little bit deeper than right on the surface. And I think I'll pull it out pretty quick. Just keep an eye on the little doggies here. Let me see if I've moved it. No, not yet. Appears to be right on the bottom of the hole. Oh, I moved it. Yes. Here's a piece of euxenite. And actually, doubly terminated crystal. May have some fracture over here, but this side is pretty nice. This is kind of typical, what I find out here. So after excavating for a couple hours up there in that big hole and only pulling out a couple of small monazite crystals, I'll show them to you a little bit later, I decided to start looking around, see if I can find something else. And I think I see why so many of these spots are so hot that don't yield anything. Because here is a boulder that is just chock full of monazite and also black glassy dots, little specks of black glassy, and you can just see that it's very hot. So I've got to be real careful. I don't spend a lot of time digging in these holes that aren't going to yield anything, but I'm not going to give up quite yet. And right next to my big hole, where I was pulling out those loose monazites, right here in the quartz, you can see the monazites just embedded all over the place. And this particular piece of quartz is just wicked hot, and along with many other places up here on this side of the pegmatite. So as I mentioned, I spent a couple hours digging in that hole that I had such good luck in last trip, pulling out world-class monazite specimens. But this is the only monazite that I pulled out of it, even though it was still very hot. But I think I pulled out the easy stuff, and the rest of it is just bound up in the giant blocks of quartz that surround the hole. So this is pretty obviously a little cluster of monazite crystals. But what's most interesting is this is the other thing I pulled out of the hole, and it is a black glassy, as you can see. So I measured the activity, and this one is about 3,000 counts per minute, which is consistent with monocyte, pretty low. But then this one, you know, for being a lot smaller, is 9,000 counts per minute, which is consistent with, I would say, euxinite. So it'll be interesting to get home and analyze this little guy here, because I have a feeling that all those black specks that I've seen up in the boulders that are really hot are in fact this this crystal here. So even though it was a lot of digging for very little to show for it, I ended up with an interesting clue. So this afternoon I've decided to work the downhill side of this peg. So it's quite strenuous working up there because it's so steep. So I found quite a few specimens here in this flat area, and so I decided to work these slopes here off of the flat area. And I think I found something here. So let me see what kind of specimen I can pull out of here. So I don't expect this to be a great specimen. I've found many small euxinites down here. But you never know. This is certainly easy digging. Here we are. Okay. There it is. Yeah, it's one of these ugly little euxinites. Doesn't have much in the way of crystal form, but I'll take it for an easy dig. There's that little hole that I just dug that ugly little specimen out of, but right below it, this appears to be another one. And it seems to be hotter. So I'm going to just see if I can move this with my boot. I think I have. Yep, I certainly have. Let's just see. There it is. Let me just see if I can spot it here. Well, somewhere right in here. There it is. How's that for a real-time discovery? So this looks a little interesting. It's got some crystal form to it, so that'll be one to wash off and examine later. Okay, there are the two holes that I just found those specimens, and right close by appears to be another one. Somewhere right in there. Yep, I already moved it. Somewhere right in there. Okay, so it's right down here. go. Let's see if I can just find it here. Okay, so it's in this little handful. There it is. Okay, this one isn't as pretty, but we'll take it. So there's the big quartz outcropping up there where I found those monacites, and I found those other little euxenites on the other side of this flat area, on the slope on the other side. So I decided to come over here to the other side of this flat area where there's another slope, but right here at the top, I think I got myself a little hit. Also looks like I'm into an ant bed, but I'll just have to work around them. And it's getting kind of dark and windy. Looks like the thunder storm may be approaching. So this may be the last specimen for the day, but my tent's right over there, so. Sorry, little guys. Oh, yeah. It's sounding better. Could be a nice one. Oops, I've moved it. Oh, it's a big chunk of something. Wow. Well, that's interesting. Seems to be hotter on one side. Okay. Well, I think this is a good time to go back to the tent. It look like a monocite sticking out of this chunk, but I will find out. So there's where I just found that large specimen, and I decided to spend a few more minutes just scouting this area out since that was such a nice one. And lo and behold, it's another hot one. So maybe it's going to be something similar. Uh-oh, it's starting to rain. And this is going to have to be a quick one. Okay. Oh, big, fat, cold raindrops. Oh well. Yeah, I've already moved it here. Here we go. Okay. Record time. Found it. Okay. Really get my stuff packed up and get out of here. So these are the pieces that I found this afternoon before it started to rain. And this one is interesting. It's a big piece of matrix with some fat blocks of mica. And this is the hot side. This side is not very hot, but this side is definitely hot, but I don't see anything identifiable as a euxenite or a monazite. So I'll have to take a closer look at this and do some XRF to see where the radioactivity is coming from. So, but it's a nice piece. Got a big piece of quartz here and mica, and so we'll put that one aside. And this is probably the second nicest one here. It's very dark and glassy black. And I would guess that it's a piece of euxenite, although it doesn't look like the euxenites I typically find out here. So there's some twinning going on here, and it looks like a terminated crystal. So this is a very nice find, and it'll be interesting to analyze this one too when I get home. And this is the other one that's pretty nice. This one is almost certainly a euxenite crystal. It's got a nice termination. So yeah, that's a very nice find. In addition, I've got a couple of other little clusters here that aren't anything to write home about, but so my doggies and I are out for a little walk this morning, and we're right above the two spots where I found those nice specimens late yesterday afternoon, right before it started to rain. And so I'm working my way up this pile of loose quartz, and I think I found another hot spot. So I think this area is going to be pretty productive today. So with the rain, the ground is even softer than it was yesterday. So this shouldn't take long to dig here. Okay, that's sounding good. Oh yeah. It was a little weak on the surface, but localized, so I like it when it gets stronger and stronger. Should be a nice specimen. I've been out to this site quite a few times. I would say a half dozen times or so. And usually I work down the hill and up the hill, but here on this side is new to me. So It's always interesting to find a new area that's going to be productive. Oh man. Here's a screamer. Yeah, I did move it. There's something else down there as well. There's some more down there. Let's see. There it is. Okay. Well, this is a pretty big piece. And seems to have some nice crystal form to it. I would say it's a big piece of euxenite. So let me see if I can pull out another piece or two. Ooh, I think I got it. Yeah, I got it. Okay, one of these guys over here. There it is. Yeah, this one's a nice crystal as well. The dogs are over there having a good time. We're all having a good time this morning. Yeah. Yeah, this is a nice crystal. Looks like it's terminated. Very nice. Let's see if there's anything else under here. No, I think that's pretty much it. So these are the two pieces I just pulled out of that hole. You can see they've got good crystal form. This one's a nice block, got some nice facets to it. Looks like a termination. So yeah, good start to the morning. So my dogs are still enjoying the sunshine over there. And here, right over here, is the last hole that I pulled those two nice specimens out of. And it seems that I found another one right over here. So this is going to be quite a productive area. Those two little beeps, bop bop, were my auto squelch adjusting itself. Because after a while of not growling, it'll go ahead and adjust the squelch down to make it a little bit more sensitive. So, and then it'll adjust itself back up if it's growling too much. Sometimes when I'm actively searching, when I've located the specimen, then I'll turn the auto squelch off. Oh, I think I got it already. Yep. Okay. One of these little guys here. There it is. Well, looks similar to the other ones. Yeah, it's got some crystal form to it. Very nice. So I hate to start sounding like a broken record, but right over there is where I found the two nice specimens yesterday afternoon. And now I found really three nice specimens from two holes right over there. And lo and behold, here's another one. No doubt I'll get a nice specimen out of this hole as well. This whole area is just unbelievably productive. Just checking on my dogs over there. They seem to be hung up in a nice spot so they can't wander off too far. And you probably hear the little bells that I've got attached to them. Helps me keep track of them. Oop, already got it. Well, that was quick. Means it's not as big as the others, but there it is. Another nice crystal. Yeah, this looks like a complete terminated crystal. Very nice. All right, well now I'm not even bothering to pack my stuff up because I know just a few feet away I'm going to find another hot spot. So it's just unbelievable that this area has evidently not been hit by other collectors, because these spots are pretty darn obvious. Of course, I've been here half dozen times myself and missed it. So it just goes to show that you can go to an area that's been hit quite a bit and still find stuff. Okay. Ooh, I already moved it. I think either that or a little bit to the side here. No, I've moved it. I've moved it. There we go. These are some easy pickings. Yesterday I worked for hours and hours and just pulled out a couple little specimens. Another nice crystal. Got good facets. Looks like a full doubly terminated crystal. All right. Okay, about 10 feet away from the last hole over there is another promising spot. I tell you, it's these series of finds like this that make the whole trip. And to top it off, the rain has softened up the ground so much that it just makes it real easy. There it is. This one's a little smaller. It's still got some crystal form to it. All right. Well, I don't know how much of this footage is going to get in the final video because it's starting to get a little repetitive. I'm right in the midst of all these other holes that I found here, so it's not surprising I would find another one. This one is in the midst of a bunch of little trees. And it's difficult to actually get the probe in here, but this one was worth the effort, looks like. Oh, I already moved it. That means it's not very big. There it is. I spotted that one now. This looks a little different. This has got a very reddish color to it, and the shape reminiscent of a monocyte. And you can see it's not screaming hot. I'll have to wait get down and wash it off and put my pancake on it and compare it to other specimens of the same size to see if it's really not that hot. Yeah, that's very nice. See, it's nicely terminated. Looks like it's got some twinning going on. Very faceted. Yeah, I would bet that that's a monocyte. So these are the specimens that I have dug up. Beginning last night, I found two. This big one here, which is a little strange, it's got a lot of mica and quartz on it and matrix, but I haven't quite been able to identify where the radioactivity is coming from. So that is going to have to be left for some analysis later. And each one of these specimens has some really good characteristics to it. This one's got some good crystal form, big black glassy, and this one as well. Now some of these are really, I mean, look at this, the sharp termination and all of the layered growth on this one. That is a spectacular specimen right there. And this one up here is quite interesting. It's quite colorful. It's got shades of green and blue and red, and in addition, it's got this one main crystal up here, but then it's got another one down here going perpendicular to it. So that's probably the largest euxenite specimen that I have found out here. So really happy with that one. And the rest of them are nice too, but then this one, of course, is definitely a monocyte. So I measured its activity, and it's about 7,000 counts per minute, which is maybe a third of what it would be if it were euxenite. So look at the sharp crystal faces. This is a floater specimen, just like the ones I was finding on the last trip out of that nice hole, getting those museum quality crystals out. So somehow this one managed to wander all the way down the hill. So I'm real happy with this haul. About 2 or 3 hours worth of work. So we'll go back up there a little bit later and see if I can find some more. So up there is the Charles Zone, where I found all those nice specimens this morning. And so I wanted to check this area down below, because if I could find specimens down here, it would say one thing, and if I didn't find anything down here, it would say another. So I have found what I think is my first specimen right down here below. So that will be one more piece of the puzzle as to how this area formed. So this is shortly after lunch, and there's a bunch of right here thunder clouds forming. And there's another one. And I'm hoping to just get quick finds in there. No, it's before I get into the race. I told you about working on quite a few specimens. The Charles Zone. Below. Articles starting off is hot. Very small big time. Like they're picking it up. This one is starting off kind of weak. Oh, quite lucky. There's not been any bursts. There's more to be found. The question in this whole area is just specimens. We're looking for more like those others. right close to the surface.
On the bank.
Over the eons.
Yeah, big ones. Found plenty of big ones up. We're looking for that monster up above.
This one is certainly buried a little deeper. Then nothing to move.
A little one.
Oh, finally. Okay.
Just a little one.
Yeah, I've already moved it.
I got it already. There it is.
Really weak.
Okay, so
Making
so far,
fairly
interesting.
small specimens.
So far, all these are small ones. That might tell me one from washing down here.
But if I would find a nice crystal, another big specimen, guys, I find that
Right up the slope here.
termination.
Tell me where my Petaca
It's all about this collecting data. Didn't ruminate on it. Just to figure out how this stuff develops. So this is at the far end of this ridge that defines what I call the Charles Zone, and I've been working my way up to this end and got one more hot spot. Then I think I'm going to call it for the day. Let's see what it sounds like. Doesn't sound too hot, at least not on the surface. Oops, just another hot piece of matrix. Oh my goodness, I found several of these. The hottest side just doesn't look like much of anything. So I think I'm gonna leave this guy as a prize for some other lucky collector. So here is the result of the survey that I did of the area below the Charles Zone. And it kind of mirrors what I saw up in the Charles Zone. The specimens tend to be a little smaller, but for instance, I think I found one monocyte up in the Charles Zone, and lo and behold, here's that monocyte I found down below. And I tested it, and sure enough, it's got a low activity, so it verifies it's a monocyte. Now, this is a interesting piece because it's very similar to the piece that I found, the largest piece that I found up in the Charles Zone. It's a smaller version of that, but it's very similar in color and in habit. Now, these are all fairly typical, but the most unusual pieces that I see are these, what I would call a quartz sandwich, because they've got this vein of quartz in the middle, sandwiched between some greasy black crystal. And I'm not sure what that is, because it's not like anything I've ever seen out here. It's very hot. It's on par with euxenite, but it's just not the same thing. And I've got two pieces of the same thing. They both got these layers of quartz between these really dark, greasy black crystals. So that'll be interesting to see when I get home and I analyze them to see if they actually turn out to be euxenite or something else.
So this is one of the more interesting pieces that I found today. It's some monazite in the quartz matrix, but also in association with some black glassy. And I see that a lot up there. You can see we've got some monazite over here, and you'll see the glint of the black glassy in there as well. Now, I've tried to analyze this before, and it just comes back as monazite. But if you remember that yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, I actually found a floater piece of this black glassy in that hole where I was pulling out all the other monazite. So I think that's going to give me a clear indication of what this black glassy is that's closely associated with the monazite up here. Today I'm going to spend some time at the Queen Mine, which is right down here, kind of on the east side of 45. It's a little bit tough to spot from the road, but there's a sharp bend in the road right up the ways, and which is very close to the King Mine. So if that helps any at all. And I have spent almost all my time down here below the road and found some nice samarskites and monazites down there. And I found a hole that somebody else had started, and but it's still quite hot. And so I don't know whether they just gave up on it or what. So let me see if I can get it to yield anything. Oh, I think I pulled something out. Well, I got something in my hand. It's not very hot. There it is. It's a shiny piece of samarskite, I would guess. Really shiny black. A shiny piece of samarskite. Pretty small, but it's a start. That means there may be more in this hole. So let me just keep rolling here. Yeah, I think I got another little piece in here. There it is. Now, this one does not look like samarskite. This looks more like monazite. Interesting. Yeah, the red color, and it's not very hot. It's not wicked hot, so that's interesting. I think I mentioned to you earlier that this place produces both samarskite and monazite. So this little hole here seems to be full of both. Ooh. Well, I got some hot matrix. Let me see. Surely I've got more than just hot matrix in here. Hard to see what it is. It's hard to say. Put that one aside. Here we go. Well, this hole has a little of everything. Marskite, monazite, hot matrix. Boy, it's a little one. There it is. Oops. It's a little piece of some marskite, looks like, again. All right. Put that one away. All right. I'm gonna have to reset the squelch again. Yep, I pulled something out of there. Here we go. There it is. It's a pretty nice size too. I would say it's a big piece of some marskite. Yeah. Yeah, see that shiny black surface? That's a nice size. And I'm guessing there's more of this down there. Okay, I think I've got something here. Yeah. Huh, not much. Let's see. Okay. This looks like another piece of monazite. Just a little sliver. Sliver of monazite. Okay. There you go. All right. There it is. Oh, another big piece. Yeah, looks like another big piece of some arscite. Yeah, that's a healthy size. Okay. Well, I could spend another couple hours digging here, but I think I'm going to move on, and if I don't find anything else, I'll come back here with my big shovel. So I'm beginning to come up with a theory of this area. This is the Queen, and I've been here quite a few times and never found anything directly below the road. You can see my car up there, and you can see my little doggies over there in the shade. And my theory is that this area down below gets washed out by this creek down here sometimes, and it exposes this layer that contains all the radioactive minerals. You can see the hole that I just dug down there. Let me see if I can. So there's the big hole that I was just digging. And I think this layer is what contains all of the radioactive minerals. Now, so I just came down this hill. I've been going back and forth here, and I just came down and into this layer, and I immediately start getting hits. So this is quite a hot one. So let me see what I can pull out of here. So I'm surprised I don't see any signs of anybody else ever digging here, because this is certainly a screaming hot spot. First, we'll just pull away the pine needles. It says this is a pretty pristine spot when it has such a thick layer of pine needles. Okay, let's see. Ah, it's further up here. Oh, it's right down in there. Okay. Nothing so far. Let me try to get... Let me turn off the auto squelch so I can get a consistent reading here. Okay. So down here, pretty quiet. All right. So we know what it sounds like. Okay, well, very quickly getting into a big piece of matrix, and I'm a little suspicious if that's what this is. It's a hot piece of matrix. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm afraid this is just a big boulder. Huh. Wow. Okay. That's what it looks like. It's just a big piece of matrix there. Okay, well, it could be that this is part of the pegmatite where these things are weathering out, so it's another piece of the puzzle. So that hot hole is right above here, about 10 feet, with that hot matrix. And found another hot spot here below it, and we'll see whether it's still just that hot matrix or it's a specimen that's weathered out. Now right below here, for the next 20 feet, I found a lot of specimens. A lot of samarskite and euxenites, but they're all just little pieces of ugly, no great specimens. Oh, we're into some really weathered matrix. It's just breaking apart as I dig in here. Now, before this stuff rolls down the hill, let's see if I've moved it. I think I may have. Yeah, I have moved it. Seems to be more than one piece here. A small piece of something. Make sure. A small piece of something. There it is. Okay. Well, this is looks like a little piece of weathered euxenite, and this is kind of the stuff I find directly down the hill. Let me put this in my back pocket now. And that's probably what I've got here. Oh, got another piece in here. Okay. There it is. Yeah, it's another one of these little pieces of euxenite or samarskite, whatever it is. It's not very pretty. Okay, I'm just going to assume that that's what I'm going to find in this hole, and I don't need any more of this stuff. But it's an interesting data point that everything below here is this little type of mineral. So I've crossed the creek here, and just for some perspective, that whole side tends to be the samarskite euxenite side with a couple of monosites as well. But this side over here tends to yield monosites primarily. Now, this is a big area of country rock, and I didn't really expect to find anything in here, but I've located something pretty localized. So it'll be interesting to see what I find here, because I don't think that it's going to be matrix. This country rock tends to be a little bit radioactive, but nothing like this. I've already moved it. Already moved it. There it is. Well, the size of it's got to be a monocyte, and it is. Yeah, a nice looking piece of monocyte. Got some good crystal faces to it. So here's a nice little piece of monocyte that I kicked out of this pile here. Somebody had dug this trench and several others. This whole area is just got lots of hot areas. Some places are so hot there's just no way to localize anything. But this pile evidently has some other specimens in it, and whoever was digging it didn't have an instrument good enough to localize them. They were looking for just a monster monocyte. There are probably a lot of smaller ones in here. And these are the specimens that I found today at the Queen Mine. I actually found the two primary minerals that I expected to find. That samarskite is noticeable by the really shiny black glassy surface, and so I'm certain that these specimens are samarskite. And then the other mineral that we typically find at Queen is monocyte, and I find 5 specimens. Now this one is particularly nice. As you can see, it has some nice faces to it. Very good specimen. These down here are probably euxenite. See how they're not black glassy. Instead they're kind of brown and dull. I'll know when I get home, but I would imagine those are some euxenite, which is what else we find out here. Now, this was a surprise, because when I found it, I remember hesitating a little bit, because even though it wasn't washed off, I could tell it was kind of dull. It wasn't the black glassy. It's certainly black, but it's kind of dull. And once I washed it off, I began to suspect that it's not samarskite. And once I measured the activity, it only measures 5,000 counts per minute. That confirmed my suspicion this is actually a columbite. So this is actually a very nice specimen of columbite, and I don't think that I found columbite at the Queen Mine. I'll have to ask my friends if they have found it there. So this was a nice haul for one day, and I can tell you that there's a lot more where this came from. That is a very hot locality. It's just full of specimens. In fact, sometimes they're so thick that you can't find individual specimens because it's hard to localize them. So, hope you enjoyed that little outing.